Marhaba, ahlan wa sahlan to everyone watching or listening at home. I'm one of your 4 co-hosts today, Nadine Nossibeh,
Rasha Silin,
Amirah Mobarak,
Zainab Fathi.
And you're watching JABBA, Just a Bunch of Bored Arabs, a podcast for the Arab culture.
In this episode, we're going to play the game We're Not Really Strangers. So how this is going to go is we're going to go around and we're going to each pick a card or a question and answer it. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 3 levels. The first level is perception, and these are the lower questions. The first one is, what was your first impression of me?
I can go first. I remember my first impression of Zainab, not gonna lie.
Oh no.
Okay, honestly, I thought you were pretty introverted. Like, I thought you were really shy because you just seemed like so like nice and like soft spoken and just like, but
How long did that last?
First FaceTime, it was gone.
Honestly, I kind of agree too, because like I didn't know you before, like we met this year. So my first impression was also, I feel like you were very quiet. So I thought you'd be like more low key and like introverted and like, I don't know, to yourself. And
Y'all had high expectations of me.
but in a good way, like it's not a bad thing. But you gave off a very like genuine, nice personality, which you are.
I think it's well to know, like we need to know that we don't know each other.
Yeah,
Like we
all
met this year.
in October. Well, actually, I knew of Amirah since March of 2020 because that's when elections were. But like we can talk about that after. But okay, for Zainab, honestly, my first impression of you was through my ex-roommate Marah. So my first impression of you was how I saw Marah because I saw you guys as very similar. Like you guys are both introverted, shy, and really, really like sweet. And just because when I texted you, I never spoken to you before, but I don't know, I was like, I don't even know if this is the right girl. Like because I sent you a paragraph saying, oh, like I think you know my roommate.
That was the sweetest thing ever.
I wasn't even expecting a response at that point because like I was just like this random chick. But no, Zainab was really nice about it, and like from then on, like we've just been super close, super friendly. So yeah, awesome girl. Okay, yeah. Okay, should we do Russia? I think Russia wants.
Should I say it? It's kind of not good. Is it okay?
No, we're honest. This is a safe space.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Put your hand down. So it was during an event. It was like one of the first events we had, and you had your mic on by accident. You didn't know, and you were yelling. I don't know if it was your mom or brother or whatever. You were yelling at them you're saying like mabidi. So I thought you were just one of those like snappy people.
Guys, disclaimer, it wasn't my mom, it was my brother, please.
Okay, but that changed very quickly.
Yikes.
Wow.
Nice save, eh?
Good first impression. Good job.
Yeah, great first impression. I'm glad.
They're besties. Okay, I guess I'll go next. Rasha, my first impression of you was through just you texting on the WhatsApp group and you using your abundance of emojis, which I love. Like it really made you stand out from everyone else. From the way that you texted, I could tell that we were similar. Like we were both just outgoing, friendly, and now I would say even more, not just in terms of how we interact with other people, but I don't know if you would agree with me, but I would say that our study habits are the same too, like in school. Rasha's so offended because her friend thinks I'm a tryhard, but anyway, no, I feel like if you think about it, I feel like we're actually a lot more similar than people would think.
And I hope making me feel bad now.
I hope you take that as a compliment. She might not, but I mean, I meant it as a good thing.
No, Zainab, I'm not offended. I'll talk to you later. Don't worry.
All right. I'll expect a text from you.
My first impression, honestly, I don't remember if we met last year at like some events, but I remember indirectly meeting you at the first event this year that we had in person because you literally sing everywhere, and I was like, is this girl's like only personality trait? No, I'm kidding. But like I knew that you could sing, mashallah, so I was like, okay, she obviously can sing. She's probably very like artsy. With the emojis too, I was like, okay, she's definitely like Gen Z type of TikTok-esque with like I don't know, all the trends, like you're updated with everything. But yeah, I also thought you were pretty quiet and kept to yourself, but that changed so fast. Like after the first time I talked to you, I was like, hey, this girl's crazy in like a good way, don't worry. And like everyone would always say like, Rasha sings, like whenever we needed like a talent show or like a performer or something, they'd be like, Rasha, where is she? So I'm like, okay, so this girl can sing, like what else? And then
yeah, see, that's why I don't like singing, because people are so like, okay, is this her only personality trait? And I was like, Oh God. It kind of is actually, not gonna lie.
But like,
It's a good personality trait. It's okay.
yeah.
You do me next.
Nadine?
I'm actually scared. Russia's face is making me scared.
I'll go first for this. Okay, I remember my first impression because the first time I heard of you or like met you was last year March, like during campaign season for this year's exec team. And I remember it because I was like, first of all, who is this girl? Second of all, honestly, props to her because she ran for two VP positions, but you weren't a manager because you were first year. Right?
Yeah, and I didn't even join any ASA events last year.
Yeah,
so I literally popped out of nowhere.
Literally, and I was like, this girl's running for two exec positions, which honestly I respected a lot. Like I remember thinking like, okay, like this girl actually has guts to like put herself out there. So my first impression of you was very high, if that makes sense. Like I actually thought you were like super sick, and I was like, honestly, first year going out of her way to apply for like an exec position, like out of nowhere, no one really knows you.
Can I be honest? I was so scared that you guys would think like, who is this chick? Like, who does she think she is? Like running for?
Well, that's definitely what I thought. 100%.
But in a good way. Like that's
but in a good
thing.
way. Yeah,
no, but like I didn't know that because now like joining ASA, I understand that most people who apply with a group of their friends, and I just thought that everyone was like me, like coming individually. So I didn't understand like how close like you guys were. So like now that I know that, I was like, oh, I really should not have even attempted.
Most of the time, it's like people were at least like a manager or like on the team, went to events at the very least, you know. But like honestly, I respected it a lot. Yeah, that was my very first impression, and I thought you were obviously like super nice and cool because your TikToks and like your campaign was like super sick. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yo, I completely agree with that. Like that was exactly my first impression, because the first time we really talked was when she texted me to see if like Marah, her roommate, was like my friend in elementary school. Just getting that text, it was like a whole paragraph, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, she's like so brave to just text a random person. She's not even sure if it's like me or not. She doesn't even know what I'm like or whatever, and she's just like texting me this whole paragraph. So I thought that was really brave. And even like the applying thing, don't think that's a bad thing. That's a really good thing, to put yourself out there and not be scared for that.
I like this game. Okay,
honestly, my first impression, I never thought that like we would actually become friends or we would click, because I just thought like you join ASA and like you'd never like actually like be involved in anything. You know, you see people and they're like, they're just gonna have it like on their resume and they're just not gonna get involved. And then we got added in the same chat and you started talking. I'm like, oh, she's active, just like me.
She talks.
Yeah, she talks. And then that changed. So I was like, I thought like you had your own like different group of friends and you just like we wouldn't click. I was like, nah, she's trying to be fob. We like,
I really am. Like that's my goal this year.
Honestly, you reminded me a lot about myself. Like I remember telling my friends
that too.
I remember telling my friends, I was like, yo, there's this girl, because even when you were talking about like your past experience and stuff, like I also am like pretty active with like random things. Like all my friends will say the same thing. So I remember I was like, yo, this girl's like a mini me almost. Like she's been a part of XYZ. I was a part of XYZ. Like she's applying to like 100 different things at once. I was like, I did that. So I was like, okay.
That actually means
we're gonna
so much to me. That means so much because okay, I'm gonna move on to my first impression of you, because when I saw, so my first impression of you was again last year's campaign. I was so impressed by your campaign, mashallah. You've done every possible thing, like every club, like every leadership initiative. I didn't know how to campaign because obviously that was my first time and I didn't have anyone on the team who I was friends with who I could ask. So my campaign was inspired by your campaign. So like, yeah. Honestly, I'm not surprised that you won. You 100% deserve it. And I genuinely think that like my first impression of you, like it was high and it stayed high. Like you met all my expectations. And
shy. I don't know.
No, I know, this is actually so nice. We've been like complimenting each other for like 20 minutes, but like we'd love to see it. But yeah, no, all good vibes.
For Amirah, that's so true. Her first impression is exactly her. It didn't change now, because like when I first like met her and stuff, I saw like the videos and everything, and like you're so outgoing. It's just like it's natural. It's not like you're outgoing because like you're campaigning or like you're doing videos. That's just you.
The thing is, they like saw all your campaigning last year and everything. I didn't. Like the first time, first impression of you was just like on chats, like in meetings and stuff. So my first impression, I didn't get to see that side of you. I thought you were like very serious for some reason. I thought like you were serious and like a go-getter. So it was like kind of like intimidating in a way.
Yeah.
And so I was like, she only talks when she needs to, very focused. She knows what she wants and all of that, which is true. But I just didn't see the weird side.
Love that. Thanks, guys.
I love how we spend first.
Yo,
like,
we just like
the
ego
podcast.
boosted.
That was my first impression. Like, wallahi, that was my first impression. Like, no cap for
Yeah.
all three of you. I don't lie, bro. I don't cap. I'm honest.
You know,
Let's go.
Be real out here.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to level 2, which is connection. Let's start with, what do you think my main love language is? That one's interesting. So if you guys don't know, there are 5 love languages. There's quality time, physical touch, gift giving, words of affirmation, and acts of service. We can just guess what we think each person's is, and then we can say how accurate or how inaccurate our guesses were.
Should we start with you then? Should we guess
Sure,
yours
yeah.
first? I think if I had to pick one for you, the first one that came to mind was gift giving, because I feel like you're a rich, like you just have rich taste is what I'm trying to say, okay?
Rich taste,
Oh my
eh?
God.
Yeah, I feel like you have
That's
rich
actually so
taste.
funny. Okay, Zainab and Rasha go, then I'll explain myself.
Okay, I'm gonna say quality time because like I feel like it's fun being around you with like your like energy and stuff. So I really think it's quality time.
I love you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm torn between quality time and acts of service. I think quality time. I think like you appreciate like just spending time with someone like you like or whatever.
So I actually took the quiz. If you don't know, there's a quiz you can take. And I got like 40%, which was my highest one for quality time. Yeah, Zainab and Rasha, you got it right. And my lowest one at 5% or 4% was gift giving.
Okay, I'm answering based off of like, for example, like the first thing that came to mind out of your like personalities from who I think you are.
And I thought that it was so funny that you said I have expensive taste, because I honestly think that I am a minimalist. Not like actual minimalism, but like compare.
Like, you give me
Okay,
expensive vibes is what I'm trying to say.
I'll take that as a compliment, but like that's so not me. Like if anything,
Yeah.
you know how parents usually tell their children to stop spending and like, like watch their budget or whatever. Like my parents do the opposite with me just because of how little I spend on myself. Like I'll spend my money on food and
Ice caps.
and like literally that's it. Like my parents beg me to actually treat myself, and I don't.
What do you guys think about me?
I think you get just like really like bubbly and like soft inside when you get like words of affirmation. Like when you say "oh," you actually mean "oh," like and maybe acts of service as well.
See,
But
I
those
I get acts of service vibes.
I was
Like,
gonna say
first thing
acts
that
of
came to
service
mind,
for you.
acts of service. Like if someone offered to like do your homework for you or like do your grocery shopping for you or something even smaller than that, I feel like that would just like hit home for you.
For me, I think like words of affirmation. I haven't done the quiz, by the way, so I don't really know. But it's something that I try to do. But what I'm best at, I think, is like acts of service.
But what would you like to receive from whoever you're in a relationship with? Like, would you rather them tell you how much they love you or show you how much they love you?
I think I give enough pep talks to myself. So acts of service, I'll go with that.
Right, Amirah.
Go ahead.
I think mostly gift giving and maybe quality time. No.
I think words of affirmation.
I'm going to go with quality time, because I think the time that Amirah spends on, not just in relationships, but like in friendships too, she really values it. When you're with her, like you'll feel that she's giving you attention. She'll like make you know that she's listening, and just like the whole vibe.
Well, I did the test too, like pretty recently as well. And quality time was my top also, like Nadine, like it was my top one. And gift giving was my last one also.
Oh my God, same.
So
We
we were like,
literally are the same person. Okay,
Hey,
Rasha,
Rasha?
I think words of affirmation for Rasha.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I actually was gonna say
Oh,
that
yeah, I
too.
was gonna say that.
Because when we were going through what questions we wanted to include in this, all the ones where we like complimented her, she wanted to.
I would say also words of affirmation, because I have a good explanation for this. Rosh is the type of person to like roast people, okay? Like if people are giving her too much attention, like compliments, she'll hate it and roast you for it, but low key, that's what gets her. You know what I mean? Like that's what she likes. She likes compliments. She likes being like boosted up in a humble way, you know what I mean? But like you're the type, okay, if I were to like compliment you and be like, oh my God, like mashallah, I love your voice, like you look beautiful today, you'd be like, shut up, I don't want to hear it from you. And then but low key you'd be like, like please tell me more. So I would say words of affirmation.
Every time I sent her a compliment about like her voice or anything, she's like, stop hyping me up for it. But like low
But
key, she likes
Like,
it.
stop, but like tell me more.
I don't like it. Like, who doesn't like an ego boost?
Nah, but for you it hits different.
I don't know if it's my like if it's the one. I genuinely cannot pick one. But words of
know what?
affirmation do get me.
Okay, next question. Let's go with, okay, what advice would you give to your younger self? It could be like any age.
Someone else
Okay,
go
I'm
first.
gonna start.
Okay.
Wait, do you want to start?
No, I was gonna say I want to go last.
Okay, for me, it's kind of last year. So last year was my first year of university. And the advice that I would give myself is to just stay true to myself. Because when I moved away from home, like I live in Burlington, I moved to London for school. It was such a cultural shock. I was like telling people, residents, even though people on my floor were amazing, it was just different than what I'm used to at home. It was a completely different culture. I wasn't speaking in Arabic. I was just like completely disconnected from like my family. And what that made me do to try to have friends is try to act different or try to change parts about myself, because that's what made me not fit in with them, and that's what made me not connect with them. But that's more hurtful in the long run than just not connecting with them in the short run, if that makes sense. You know, when you stay true to yourself and you just stick to your values and whatever feels right to you, you do that. It just keeps confirming your identity to yourself. And in the long run, it just makes it easier for you to pick people that you know you would connect with. And like, it's easier to make good friends instead of like a lot of friends.
That was so good. That was beautiful. I would tell myself that too. I wish you could tell me that, my younger self.
I swear.
Am I crying?
Oh,
Tell all of us that. It's not poetry, but okay.
It was
I thought it was
poetry.
poetry. That was
It
beautiful.
was poetry, not gonna lie. You're right. What I would tell. I feel like I tell like my grade 8, grade 10, like before I gave a can. I tell them to kind of like just be comfortable in their own skin and to like not seek validation from someone else. Right now I'm confident and I have a pretty big ego. I love myself. Not gonna lie.
Affirmation.
As you should.
as long as there's the affirmation.
Everyone, don't give her any more.
Relax. It's not that big. I'm like when I
Like,
look in
no,
the
I can
mirror,
take more.
like when I was in grade 8, for example, when I look in the mirror, like I genuinely hated the person I saw. Like I wasn't comfortable with who I was. I had absolutely no confidence, like zero. I feel like just coming here to Canada was what made it like, okay, like it was now or never to actually build up confidence and like love yourself. So yeah, I tell my grade 8, like just don't keep like bringing yourself down. It's really not worth it. Everyone is going through it like a lot already. Love yourself. It'll be okay.
I
You'll
wish
get
I
through
had
it.
that advice too. What the heck? Y'all are good.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one piece of advice, I guess especially third year me, so last year was when this like really hit me, but like I feel like if I knew this also ahead of time, it would have helped me a lot with things. I would tell myself to just be patient. Like, try not to rush into things, like whatever they may be. Don't rush into things. Don't think too far ahead because you'll get like overwhelmed or stressed out. Take each day as it comes because you never know, like something could change within the next hour, something could change within the next day, the next week, whatever. So I would say just be patient. Everything will happen at the right time, when it's supposed to happen, when it's meant to happen. Everything happens for a reason. Don't dwell on things that may not go your way or things you may not expect, like you may not have expected to happen, because if you dwell on it, you're probably going to waste a lot of your time. Actually, you will waste a lot of your time, and it just won't be worth it for your mental health, your mental well-being, just your time and effort being put into things that at the end of the day don't matter. Coming from me, like in my 4th year now, looking back, adapt to any changes that are happening, and everything that's meant to happen will happen at the right time. To not be too hard on yourself.
Well
Tell
said.
me that too. I feel like when you're younger, you just think that whatever something bad happens, that it's just gonna stay forever and it's like the end of the world. But it's so
Yeah.
small.
I hate how the phrase everything happens for a reason is so overused, because when you actually think about what it means, it's so true. So many times people would tell me everything happens for a reason, but it wasn't until recently where like I actually thought about it myself, where I was like, okay, like they're right. It actually has like meaning to it.
And that's just hit me like last year.
I think the reason why I've had such a hard time with this question is because I am the most stubborn person I know. If I was giving my younger self advice, I know that because I was so stubborn, I still kind of am. Like I wouldn't listen to myself. Like I feel like I would have to go through everything, realize myself what advice I would find helpful, what I would need to follow for me to actually listen. Because like think about it, you giving your younger self advice is like your mom giving your younger self advice like at the time, and like I didn't listen to half the things that she told me. Like I feel like for me, I have to experience it myself to learn. Because I was thinking like, yeah, I could tell my high school self balance is key, because like we were talking about it last night, how I had no social life until grade 12. But like, would I have really listened in grade 11 if I was told school isn't everything. No, because people did tell me that and I didn't listen. So I think my advice is go through the hard parts of life and learn from it as you go. That's my advice.
That's good.
That's amazing.
That's really good advice. Damn.
The warm inside. I'm like, oh, I want to give you all hugs.
I know.
I freaking wish.
Guys, if we didn't go through all of that though, like all of this advice, we wouldn't even be in this position like the way we are now.
Yeah, even when I like think about it, if I like really listened to my advice now and I didn't see what it was to kind of change myself for people and how it negatively affects you, I wouldn't really understand that. I feel like it just stuck with me more that I like experienced it.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be more susceptible to make those kind of mistakes later on in life where it's like it's gonna cost you more. So it's like a good thing it happened back then in a way so that like you can actually learn from it.
Okay, so we can move on to level 3, which is reflection. And the first question is, do you think the image you have of yourself matches the image people see you as?
I think I want to seem like kind of confident. I want to seem like outgoing, which is like what I am and all of that. But sometimes it might look to people that I'm like too much of that, you know, a bit of like a pushover, like trying too hard. When I'm in a public setting and I'm just like talking, whatever, sometimes I notice that like my energy is like too much for the room. I'm way louder than anyone in the room. I'm like, whatever. I just like, it kind of like brings me down. It's like, oh shit. And now I'm now going to sit and be quiet for the rest of the evening.
I feel that 100%.
Especially when someone comments on it, if they say, why are you so loud? Or why are you
it's like,
energized? Like,
okay, now
that's such a buzzkill.
I don't think I overdo it, but it shows like that. But it's just like me kind of being me.
So do you think that like the way you present yourself, like when you, let's say you're in like a comfortable setting with like your best friends or like even in strangers, like the way you present yourself is internally who you are? Or do you think it depends on the group of people, like you said, like if you're with people you're comfortable with versus like a business
it completely depends. Like I can't be like full on like outgoing and crazy with someone like I've just met. I don't know. I feel like it's like it's too much or not too much. It's just like I won't be comfortable doing that. It's like I don't know you yet. But if I know you, like no, I'm very comfortable. You know, I talk, I won't shut up. Like you need to shut me up. But especially if like you're in a group where everyone knows each other and you're just the only newbie there, it's kind of like, okay, you need to know when to talk. Because it's like, what if I leave and they start talking shit about me? And then I just like go cry. So because I don't want that. So no, you know?
I think I can go next because I have a similar answer to you in the sense that up till grade 11, I was the same way as you, where I restricted a lot of my actual personality, especially toward people who I wasn't comfortable with. And eventually, like I'd say in grade 12, I started just not caring and just being myself around as much as myself as I could around other people, no matter how close or not I was to them. Like I would just try and be as outgoing as possible. And eventually I had to stop trying and I just like became outgoing to everyone, even like new people who I met. And I think the main reason why I decided to make that change is because I remember in grade 12, I posted, it was my brother's birthday, my little brother, he was turning 7 or 8 at the time. So I posted for his birthday a video of us two just like vibing, dancing, like together, having fun. And then the next day at school, this guy who I never talked to comes up to me and says, Nadine, before I saw that video on your story, I thought you were a robot. Like I didn't think you had a personality. And I was kind of offended because obviously like I knew and my friends knew, they knew my personality that you guys know now. But I realized that no one else knew that side of me and they just thought that I was boring. I was like, hell no, like I don't want anyone to think this of me. So I was just like, you know, I'm just going to be outgoing to everyone. So yeah, not try and be as authentic as I am to myself, to other people.
For myself, do I think the image I have of myself matches the image people see me as? I think I'd say yes, but to an extent. And here's why. Because the image that people see of me is usually like the outgoing side, which I believe like I am outgoing. They always see like me being involved in like a bunch of different things. Like even you guys said, like you've seen me do a bunch of different things and like I'm always talking. I'm a social butterfly, I guess you could say. But at the same time, and a lot of people don't believe this when I tell them, is I like to be alone also. When people find out I like being alone, or like for example, if people are going out and I'm like, nah, I just want to chill, they think that something's wrong when like half of the time it isn't anything wrong. It's just me wanting to be alone. Like I don't necessarily have to be around people all the time. It's just I literally just need time to relax because my head is always all over the place, which is what I think you guys see, or like the general public I guess sees of me. But like low key, I'm just pretty quiet. I could just sleep for hours and do nothing. I could chill. Like if I'm chilling with a friend, we could sit in silence and do nothing for hours and I literally will be completely okay with it. People see most of the time half of the truth, which I think I do portray pretty well. But then the other side, most people don't see unless they become like really close friends with me, or unless they see me in like a more chill setting.
Everyone needs to recharge somehow. Like, I think even the most extroverted people need their alone time to recharge their social battery or whatever they call it. No, like, I think that's completely normal. Like, you can still be considered an extrovert if you do need that time.
Yeah, I think like I read that once. I think it was on Instagram. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't something deep. I like being alone, but I just don't like the feeling of being lonely. They're two separate things, right? Like I enjoy my own company, but what makes me like feel good is that I know that there's someone I can go to if I want to.
For me, I don't really know what image people have of me necessarily, because I feel like I've been changing a lot, especially over like first year university, grade 12, and now. I feel like the image that people have is changing, but I don't think it's like what really is, because I feel like I don't even know fully who I am. You know what I mean? I don't see why we would expect people to know who we really are without first us knowing ourselves fully. Okay, so we're gonna end it off with a question that is considered a wild card. What's the hardest part about dating you?
Hypothetically.
What's dating again?
I wouldn't know.
Amirah.
Left the chat.
Child, anyways, so it's basically our engagement, okay? In simpler terms.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Good to know. Good to know.
I got you guys. Don't worry. Y'all are like the youngins. I'm like the mother of the group. I got you all. Don't worry.
Am I supposed to just pick one thing?
I mean,
No, please give us the whole list.
Say the whole thing, and at the end, put your meher.
All right, I see. So number one is that maybe I'm too like not independent, but being self-sufficient.
Because
that's
you
a
don't
good
need a
thing.
man.
But I feel like when you're dating, you want the other person to depend on you and need you a little, you know?
I feel like there's a difference. I don't know. Like depending on someone, something about that doesn't sit right with me. Like if you
See,
need,
I am
there's
in
another
the
word I'm trying to
negatives
think
of experience, so
Oh, me too.
Like, what are boys?
How it's just silent. This question's like, what's the hardest part? No one has said anything in like 10 minutes.
we're all perfect.
I'm really thinking.
Give it of like in the general public of guys,
I'm trying.
what trait about you would be most like hard for them to accept in a relationship?
The first thing that came to mind now that you like rephrased it, okay, hear me out about this. I care about other people more than myself a lot of the time. Whether it's like platonic relationships, romantic relationships, whatever the case may be, anyone will tell you, I will go out of my way to make someone happy, even if that means sacrificing my own time, my own happiness for myself, just because I want to see them happy. And when it comes to me, if they're like, what do you want? Like, oh, I feel so bad. I'm like, honestly, I don't want anything. Like, I genuinely don't want anything. That's not always the healthiest. Like,
So Amirah's like, my problem is that I'm too giving. I'm too kind.
But the thing is, it's bad because it takes a toll on your own mental well-being. When you say it out loud to people, it makes you realize nothing should come in the way of your happiness. Like you should be happy first before making others happy, and you should have a balance.
But that like kind of takes a toll on your mental health. But for the person that you're with, like they're chilling, they're getting
100%.
That's not a hardship for them to date you.
Yeah,
it's hard for you to be in a relationship.
Yeah, I kind of twisted that question around, but like, yeah.
Okay, I thought of something. This is mostly when you're in the talking stage with someone rather than when you're in a relationship with them. Because I feel like everything is more secure when things are official. But when you're in the talking stage, you don't want to come off too strong. So I feel like the hardest part for both people in the situation would be the expression of emotions and just expressing how you actually feel towards the other person. If something they do is bothering you, or if you want to like call them out on something. Like I personally would not, like I'm so bad with confrontation, especially like in those situations, in like talking stage situations. Because to myself, I'll think I have no right. Like I can't even call them mine or whatever. Like I have no right to ask you personal questions or like call you out for anything. I feel like in that case, like the communication is a little bit of an issue, but I feel like that goes away with the security of like being in a relationship.
You know what's funny? I used to be like that too all the time, just in general with any relationship, friendship, like any sort of me to another person. Confrontation and like speaking my feelings, I used to struggle with a ton until third year university. So last year again, where I literally like the slogan, "It's not that deep," became my phrase. All my friends know me by it.
Say it a lot.
I literally, it's really not that deep. And like when it hits you that it's not that deep, your whole life, like the weight just lifts off your shoulders and you're like, is it really that serious?
I'm kind of the opposite because like I communicate everything.
Now I do.
I don't keep anything in. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the thing that makes it hard to be like in a relationship, friendship, anything with me is that like I expect the same. For me, it's like I won't go silent. If I'm pissed, I'll tell you I'm pissed. If there's something wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. Like you will be getting paragraph.
How come I don't get paragraphs?
Zainab, you're perfect. You don't need paragraphs.
You're getting paragraphs after this.
Oh, the first impression.
First impression. Okay, but Rasha, riddle me this.
So-
Would you be as open to calling someone out if they're not even your boyfriend or fiance or husband?
If they're fiance, I have every right to, with all due respect.
Yeah,
to.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so much easier when it's official, right?
But if it's still talking, then it's at the stage of like, okay, they're moving at their own pace. So like, I'm not gonna say anything, whatever. That's when it has to hit you. Like, if they wanted to, they would, you know.
If
So
he
if they
wanted
wanted to
to,
tell
he
you,
would.
literally, if you wanted to tell you that, he would, right? It's not that.
But you know what I saw? I saw a rebuttal to that. So you know how the phrase is, if he wanted to, he would?
Yeah.
Well, I want to, but I'm not. Yeah.
If the tables were turned, would you do the same thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, once again, it's not that deep. Literally, especially in this talking phase, bro, it's not that serious. Okay, if you genuinely see it going somewhere, then sure, take your time, see if they reciprocate. But if they don't reciprocate, you're wasting your time. You just gotta chop and change.
When we say confront someone, what is so serious you can't talk to someone about?
I can understand,
you know, like
it being like, you can be scared, like, oh, I don't want to make them upset, which sometimes I have that issue too, where it's like, okay, like, I know by me saying this, I'm gonna cheese them. Maybe I shouldn't. That was me. But now, once again, it's not that deep. It's like, hey,
it's really not.
Like, the way they react to it, you'll get
It's a lot about them, not really about you. And if it's like something you really want to talk about, then I feel like it's just more harmful to keep it and like not say something.
And I feel like once you like say it once, and based on their reaction, based on what happens, you kind of get a feel, you know. So it's like you learn, but it's not that deep.
It's really not that deep.
I'm actually learning so much from this conversation.
I'm starting something. I told you guys, it's really not that deep.
It's not that deep.
It's really not that serious, bro.
Another advice I would give: stop taking everything so seriously.
Because it's not that deep.
Yeah, so we should close this off.
Thanks for listening to us talk for 3 hours.
Hopefully it's not 3 hours when you guys are watching this. Hopefully we have managed to cut it down. If anyone wants to say something to close off this podcast, go ahead.
Like, I've never met you in real life, any of you, right? But this made me feel how much shared experiences you have with people, you know? Like, we're all similar in a way or another, which is pretty cool. But
We're not really strangers.
Wow.
That's
no
true.
way.
Thank you for listening. And really, one takeaway message that I got is that it's really not that deep.
It's not that deep. That's what
It's
I've
really
been
not.
saying, bro. I like spreading my knowledge to the youth of today.
You heard it here first, guys. It's not that deep. This was
It's not-
JABBA. Bye. Imagine that's how we end it.
Imagine.